YouTube, what's going on? Now this video was requested a minute ago, and I just thought I'd just get this out the way. Now let's get into it. Now back in 07, 08, or maybe 09, AR Rap was doing this thing, but it didn't get much buzz until he got on Goons Going Wild with Meek Mills. Now that song was on Flamers too. That was the hottest mixtape in Philly during the time by Meek Mills. Now Ab knew he had to bring it, and after that verse, many people started checking for AR. Now his interviews was getting more emotion than his songs, and he noticed that, so he would drop vlogs here and there to get things moving. Now Meek and AR was cool, they had a genuine relationship. Ab would always pull up on Meek, and both men had their issues with Quilly Mills during the same time. Now Ab knew Meek was gonna blow, so when he had the opportunity to get on the track, and they would meet up, he knew he had to bring it. And Ab delivered a crazy verse on Harder to Paint with Meek. Now, Ab finished the track until the beat was done, like he killed it. Like if you haven't heard it, go listen to it now. Meek Mills and AR Ab, Harder to Paint. Now, as time will move on, Meek would get co-signs for some of the well-known artists in Philly, such as Gilly the Kid, Oskino, Beanie Siegel, Young Chris, and many more. Now, eventually, Meek Mill would blow up and he was signed to Rick Ross MMG. And, he would never look back. The whole city was happy for Meek, especially AR. They looked at it as if he made it, then the whole Philly made it. Time would move on and he would drop his Dream Chasers mixtape. Now, he had his big single, I'm a Boss, and that blew up the charts. And then he had his mixtape, and it was a time to see what Philly artists he was gonna let shine. Now, he would have Philly artists such as NH, Mel Love, Beanie Siegel, and Young Chris. 4 Philly artists, but only 2 was up and coming. Now, we already know Beans and, Young Chris, they already had their time. Now, that's when a lot of artists started to see the change. They felt like he thought he was too good for people. And the more he grew, the more he isolated himself. Now, and I understand moving different when you work hard for a better life, but during Philly events, the other artists just felt his vibe was being off. Now, he wouldn't bust it up with the fellas anymore. He would do his thing, and then he'd just hit the door. And Young Chris was on this hit song House Party. And Young Chris was backstage at the event, and Meek would perform the song by himself. So that just looked crazy to everyone. They was like, yo, what's going on? Ab and Meek was cool, and when AR got shot, Meek reached out to him and told him to come get some money with him when he gets better. But when the time came, when he healed and everything, he didn't hold up on his end. He didn't throw him a bone or nothing. Now, Swiss Beats gave AR Rap a couple beats and, hopped on the single to his mixtape, Who Harder Than Me Too. Now, they could have made a better song than that if you ask me. But it was good seeing Swiss Beats help out AR Rap. Now, when Meek Mill and Cassidy was going at it, Meek said Cassidy never looked out for AR when AR was around him. Now, that's the one and only time Meek shouted out AR. And that was a diss track towards Cassidy. AR came out and said it was true what Meek said. This was a business move that AR Ab made. Side with the person that could get you to the next level. Now, AR Ab, he was around Cassidy. He couldn't do anything with him. So he made a business move, just like I said. Now after that, Meek still didn't do nothing for AR. Not a verse, not a repost, nothing. A lot of people say Meek don't owe nobody nothing, but he actually do. He owed Philly. He owed the city that put him on. But of course, he don't owe anyone money, but he could at least do the same thing that some Philly artists did for him when he was coming up. But AR continued to do his thing, and he caught some attention from some major labels and rappers. Now we all know Yo Gotti, he's always looking for new talent, and he asked Meek Mill about AR. Meek tells Gotti that they're too wild for the industry. Now, you're not gonna be able to control them. Now, why would you say that when another man have an opportunity to lead the trenches, an opportunity to feed his family the legal way? Shutting down the opportunity for another black man is insane. Not only that, you're not going to do anything to put him in a good position, but you're stopping others from putting him in a good position. And that's the mentality I call nobody's going to come up off of me mentality. That only happens in our culture, especially Philly, but other Philly artists would notice. Some would speak up, some won't. Oskino, he couldn't get a repost. He couldn't even help Beans get into position to get some show money. Just story after story after story. But of course, it would get back to AR, that Meek told people he was too wild to get in the game. And it didn't sit right with him. OBH members wanted to expose it, but AR Rap wouldn't let that happen. Plus, AR wasn't gonna burn the bridge. He just played it cool. Ab was shocked because he never went against Meek. He was even offered $100K to diss Meek in a song, but he turned it down. Months would go by, and back-to-back would drop. One of the hardest diss records in hip-hop history. Drake mentions AR Rap name, and it was big. I was happy to hear Drake say his name. Now, AR Rap started to get booked for shows. His buzz was getting up there. Everything was going his way. Drake shouted him out, did way more than what Meek ever did for him. And during the Meek and Drake beef, you had some Philly artists talking about Philly versus everyone. They started making diss tracks towards Drake, hoping Meek would see it and put them on. But nope, didn't happen. And it was sad to watch, man, for real. But AR kept quiet. He started to collect his money, doing his interviews as he should, getting his motion going. Meek goes on the internet and start throwing subliminals towards Ab. So Ab started throwing them back in his interviews. They both was going back and forth. They both knew, what was going on. The public didn't know, but they knew. Now, Meek goes on stage in Jersey and say F AR for no reason, talking about how you deriding someone from another city. Now it's about another city when you didn't do nothing for nobody in your own city. You ain't throw him a bone, Drake did. Then you get mad at AR because he was starting to get some motion. It's cool for you to say his name in the Cassidy diss, but Drake couldn't say his name? Okay. Now Meek feeling himself because he had South Philly behind him. He had Teefy around him. So Teefy won't let nothing happen to Meek. So Meek looks tough, and he looks like a gangster going at AR rap, which would never happen if Meek wasn't around them dudes. Now, there was a lot of memes and dissing going on Instagram. AR rap did his vlogs with 100 soldiers behind him, letting everybody know they was with the dumb shit. That's when AR rap dropped back to back, exposing Meek Mill's credibility. That diss hit different because the whole city knew exactly what Ab was talking about. AR never really been the type to diss on a record, like make a diss record, but he used that as another marketing tool, which caused 50 Cent to even repost it. Now, O'Malley tried to get his buzz up too, coming to Meek defense, and O'Malley did it. He did okay. His only mistake was talking gunplay. He still had to go back to Philly. Now, Meek Mills didn't. Dark Low, he came out with a diss track towards O'Malley and them, talking about getting busy. Now, nothing was going to happen to Meek or AR Rap. The main concern was people from both camps. The situation with former OBH member Shady Black, or you want to call him Trendsetter Shady. There was a situation where he put his hands on former Dream Chaser Dean. Then you had a situation where Dean ran into AR Rap inside a spot. Now, AR Rap was with two other dudes, and Dean managed to get out the store by fighting his way out. And he had no choice but to fight. He had no choice but to fight his way out. He didn't know if they were strapped or if they had what they had in store for him. All he knows is that he was outnumbered. Now, when an average human being is, in a situation like that, you get into survival mode. When you're in harm's way, you become more faster and more stronger for some reason. And you will do anything to get out of that corner. It's that adrenaline rush. He damn sure fought his way out and made it to the car. Now, as you see, the top goon is still dazed from the punches as he stumbles, or he could have just had a shot in him. Who knows? Now, beef ain't nothing to a boss. Meek Mill said that out of his own mouth. All they had to do was spend $100K to turn their block into a ghost town. But it wasn't that serious. I mean, AR said people were shot behind the situation, but I only know the one person that was shot. But, they squashed their beef. A phone call was placed and everything was squashed. So everything's cool, even though, people from both sides, people from both camps still feel some type of way after the situation. But, they street dudes. Now that I got all of that out the way, I had to get this off because something bothered me. This kind of bothered me. Like, I saw this video. Well, I kind of skimmed through this video by Swamp Stories, calling AR Rap's dumbest criminal. Now, the best thing this content creator could have done was disguise their voice or use AI to tell a story because they wouldn't dare say that to his face. But it was nothing but ignorance in the whole video. First, AR Rap is a gangster rapper. His image is the top goon. All y'all idiots laughing at his old videos talking about situations that had nothing to do with his charge. If you actually look into his case, he had an unfair trial. They pulled those interviews and songs up just to convince the jury on what type of person he was, which was unfair because that's just a part of his image. It's entertainment. Just like all these drill rappers. Y'all say King Von was real. Y'all say NBA Youngboy is real. Y'all not calling Young Thug stupid when they're using his lyrics against him in a RICO trial. Everybody screaming free him. That's what gangster rappers do, is talk about gangster shit. But when it comes to AR Rap, y'all call him stupid. Second, in the video, he used what Taz said on the stand to testify against AR Rap. And people know that rats are liars. Whatever Taz said didn't make sense, and he even said he didn't remember certain things because he smoked. Now, Taz clearly lied, and the crazy part is, it was a drug case, so why would they have Taz testify on a murder when it wasn't even a murder case? And I knew it was all BS when Taz said he hit up OBH Birdo and asked was he down for a 187. Like, what? We don't even talk like that in Philly. Now, and I'm not saying AR Rap is an angel, but they did him dirty. It was unfair. They had nothing. Those interviews and lyrics wasn't enough to put him away. Ab been talking crazy since 07. So let's get that clear. That video was wrong. Like, it was a lot of shit wrong. A lot of things. Dark Low wasn't an original OBH member. He said AR and burned Birdman for $200K. He actually won that money in a bet against Birdman during the Super Bowl. So do a little bit more research if you're gonna call someone dumb. Now that's all I got tonight. Make sure y'all comment, like this video before y'all head out. I appreciate all the support. I'm out.